What's up, guys? Colby's Tech Reviews here, and today I'm actually going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should buy the new iPad Pro. So I'm just going to jump right in here and start with number 1. I think number 1 is definitely to future-proof yourself. So by getting this new device, you're really kind of starting yourself for success with having the latest and greatest. Obviously, having the newest tech is always fun and really cool, but it's always nice to have the newest device because then the future software updates will be supported by your device. For example, when iOS 13 comes out, or down the line, say we're at iOS 15 or 16, your device will still support it because it's still powerful enough to run that software. Whereas maybe the 10.5 Pro or even just the regular 9.7-inch iPad won't be able to run that as smoothly and as buttery soft as the new device will. And along those same lines, not only the software that comes out from Apple, but also new app releases. So the newest versions of any of your social media apps or your games that you play, or your business applications that you use for your email, different things like that to get tasks done will also be better supported with newer hardware and software. Number 2 on my list is actually dealing with the Apple Pencil. The new device and the new Pencil are amazing. They work amazing together. We all know that the very first Apple Pencil charged via Lightning port that you had to connect into like the bottom of your phone or the bottom of your iPad looked incredibly sloppy. Something that probably Steve Jobs and his friends would not be very happy with in terms of design quality. But the new one does just connect very seamlessly, magnetically along the side of the iPad. I have it myself. If you are an artist, definitely go pick that up and pick this up. If you are a student and you take notes on an iPad or you take notes on a tablet, definitely go ahead and consider this. Or if you want to consider doing that, it's a very, very awesome way to do so. And to be able to charge it on the iPad itself without having to plug anything in or missing the end cap to your pencil, losing that. It's a very nice way to do it. Number 3 has to be the performance of this device. So the performance of this device here is very similar to the iPad Pro, the 10.5 inch from last year, the 2017 model, and the 12.9 from last year as well. But it's so smooth and so seamless, and coming from my iPhone XS Max or 10s Max, sorry, it really just kind of integrates itself better into the new ecosystem and what Apple's trying to do with gesture-based navigation. Essentially, they got rid of the home button, they got rid of the headphone jack and going wireless, but then also just kind of making everything a gesture and using your hands more and being able to touch the screen and do exactly what you want really do enhance the iPad experience on this new device. Whether you get the 11 inches, which is what I have here, or the 12.9 inch, it's so much nicer. There's a lot more screen real estate without a button, which actually takes me to point number 4 of the Face ID security. And before I move on to number 4, it's also important to note that all of the iPad lineup, with the exception of the very top-notch 12.9 inch, come with 4 gigs of RAM in the device. So the very top-notch 1 terabyte storage option of the 12.9 inch brand new iPad Pro comes in 6 gigabytes of RAM. You're obviously going to get top-notch performance from all of the devices, but if storage is something, to get that 1 terabyte level of storage is one thing for you, but then also the 6 gigs of RAM is going to give you better Geekbench scores and better performance on gaming and better performance, throughout apps and multitasking. And it's going to be a little bit of a step above. I haven't noticed. I played with the 12.9 inch in store, the one that did have the 6 gigs of RAM. I didn't notice that much of a difference. I have the 11 inch here. I just don't need it. So I don't know that I tested it out as well as I should have, but I just don't think it's worth the upgrade to go from 4 to 6. I do wish that all of them came with 6. I think if that's something that is possible in one of them, why not just make it possible for all? And I'm sure in the next iterations of the iPad next year, the price is probably going to go up if they all get 6 gigs of RAM, but it would be nice to see across the line. And mentioning the Geekbench scores is very interesting. So the Geekbench score for single core was 5,025, and then the multi-core score was 18,106, which is very, very incredible for something this small, this thin, but it's also better than some of Apple's laptops. That just blows me away. That new A12X chip is just incredible. Apple's really stepping up their game, and they're really going to be taking the gold medal with their making their own new processors. So as I mentioned before, number 4 on the list is Face ID security. So this is the first iPad that we're seeing with Face ID built in. It's really nice because you can actually use Face ID both vertically and horizontally. The camera is actually right up here in the top, just very similar to the iPhone, but it can be used in both portrait and landscape modes. And it actually does send an alert, not send an alert, but it shows you a little arrow if you happen to be holding it in landscape position and the camera is covered, then it lets you know and says, hey, move your hand, move your thumb. And it works really, really well, just as fast as the iPhone, if not better. And I'm really glad to see that in this new device. And the last point I want to mention, which brings me to number 5, is just the overall design and quality of this device. One thing that MKBHD mentioned, and I think Jonathan Morrison mentioned it as well, is that you can actually hold it with one finger. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to drop it. But you can hold this device with one finger directly on the Apple logo on the back, and it's evenly weighted across. So I think that goes for both the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch. Both are gorgeous. They come in either space gray, which is what I have here, or the silver color, which we're all very familiar with from Apple devices. I'm really glad to see they're implementing the new color schemes in all of their devices. Also, it just looks good. It feels good in the hand. We've got 4 stereo speakers. If you're holding it in, again, landscape position, you got one here, one here, one here, and one here, and it sounds great. And it also actually introduced a software ability to detect whether or not one speaker is being covered, and then it will improve the performance across the other 3. I think that's very cool. That's a very important feature if you're video editing and you don't have headphones in, or maybe you're just listening to music and you have it set there and something's behind it. It'll push the audio out of the other end. Really, really great way to listen to music on this device, watch YouTube videos. And it's just light. I have the 11-inch right here. I think this was the better one for me. But the way that the pencil integrates with the design and how it has that one flat edge to magnetically connect, and then just to be able to, feel this in your hand is just a whole new experience. They redesigned the iPhone originally with the iPhone 10 and now the 10s. I think that looks gorgeous. The new colors are gorgeous, and now they're really stepping up their game with their iPads. And I think they're giving Microsoft a run for their money. And I think the next thing that they should really focus on as Apple is to take into consideration that iOS isn't greatly optimized for an iPad. Obviously it is. It works really well. But I would love to see more. I know we're going to get Adobe Photoshop, possibly Illustrator, the more professional software for the iPad Pros. But I would really love to see better integration of software because it's still, as again, to credit MKBHD with this, it's still an iPad, or it's still iOS on an iPad. I would like to see full-sized applications that can do more, especially in using the pencil or even just multi-touch features. But I think that's definitely something that Apple's aware of, at least I hope, especially with the integration with Adobe Photoshop coming in 2019. So hopefully with iOS 13, it will be more integratable and a better replacement for a laptop. And I think that would be something important to me, and I think it would be something I would consider. All right, guys, so that was 5 reasons why you should buy the new iPad Pro. Again, I have the 11-inch. I did try the 12.9-inch as well. Both are really great. This one's definitely lighter, more portable. But those are 5 reasons why you should buy it. I think my next video is going to be 5 reasons maybe you should hold off and not buy it and wait for the next one. But other than that, that is it for me, and I will see you guys in the next video.